So in this video, what we're going to discuss is how to build a powerful product for your new imports, and that's all through market research. Now, planning is the key to developing this new product for your new import business. And indeed, planning is the key for any perfect product. But there's no one single secret. With a considerable amount of thought, process, and planning, it's 100% achievable to get that ideal product for your market. Now, in this video, what we're going to discuss is some of those key lessons on how you can plan that successful product launch by developing your initial design ideas. Now, the key to successful launch of any product is grasping the concept of control. It's learning to be on top of everything and when. Well before you're thinking about that product construction and the nuances of its function, you need to register if indeed your product is actually viable for the market it's going in. The viability of anything is the key to success. It'll drive your ideas through to fruition. It'll push you through those hard days when everything appears stacked against you. And trust me, when launching anything, there'll be many of these, and give you the inner determination to strive towards the light at the end of the tunnel. Just knowing that there is a market for your commodity can pull you through that minefield of product launch, development, and everything else that goes with it. So how can you ensure that your product journey starts from those secure, concrete foundations? It's through market research. Now, there's a couple of different market research that we're going to discuss, but having a robust, thought out market understanding and the directions of that market is the rationale as to why anybody does anything in business. It goes some of the ways to predict if there is a demand for your product idea, and it allows you to gauge the size of that market, the demographic, and ultimately how much your idea is worth. It's all through market research. But market research, well, what is it? Well, market research is the organized effort to gather information on your target market and consumers, learning about your customers, who they are, what their interests signify, where they frequent. Market research is one of those key pillars to a successful, sustainable product. Now, I have a bit of a question for you, and it's all around hobbies and why we do what we do. Now, why would you want to produce a product, spend countless hours, invest your hard-earned cash, and end up potentially bankrolling your hobby? Now, that's a hobby that doesn't have a market, demand, or customers. The answer is quite simple. You just wouldn't. Now, ensure that you do your homework, or you can just do that. You can be bankrolling a hobby. You can end up having expensive stock sat in a warehouse, eating into your capital and paying for those storage fees. Now, if you're already selling online or in the e-commerce world, you'll know the importance of that. You'll probably know various tools currently about how you can get the correct product choice. If not, or you're just starting an e-commerce journey, companies like Jungle Scout are a great source of knowledge. They can assist in getting an overview of sales on Amazon, what's being imported, and indicate product line openings. Another great tool that we currently use is Google Trends. It's a precious tool, and it's to gauge market sentiment. Because using savvy keywords choices, you can start to decipher the current market expectations and sectors. But be cautious of using cognitive bias here, or employing cognitive bias. You want impartial researched advice, not an unbiased interpretation of the market. And I'll give you an example. Recently, a client asked me to investigate a potential supplier of pizza wood oven pellets. Google Trends showed that there had been a large increase of search terms around this product. There is a good indication that potentially there is growth in the market of pellets. I also wanted to look and see if there was the same trend around other fuel sources such as charcoal. The question was, ideally, is charcoal a good product, or pizza wooden ovens. So have a look at charcoal. And charcoal indeed had looked like it was a good source of investigation. But after looking into the charcoal search terms, the main driver for the increase in traffic for charcoal was in fact charcoal face masks, not charcoal fuel fire. Now, if you're a company selling fuel wood, then based upon the Google trends, pellets look to be a better product to venture into rather than charcoal. Now, these are all secondary market research examples. Now, secondary market research is usually free, it's conducted by yourself, and it's using information that's in the public domain, Google Trends, other tools like that. And it's to recognize if there is indeed a demand for that product. Unwittingly, you probably already conduct a degree of secondary market research. The last time you pondered around buying a new computer or looking at acquiring a new TV, you conducted a certain degree of market research. You investigated various models against availability versus spec, based upon your budget, your needs, who, why, what is selling it, and how. And the answers to those questions to that simple computer purchase can be documented. We can put it into a spreadsheet. And ultimately, these are data sets the same as market research data points. The difference between the professional market research and your search is merely a degree of organization and depth of search. This comes down to planning and recording the correct data, which leads us to the original point, planning. If you plan and record data methodically, you'll start to build data sets. And then the only investment made was your time. You can search for trends, understand pain points, understand market pricing, understand who your potential customer is, what their demographics are, and crucial for your next steps, if needed, you search for primary market research areas. So what's primary market research and how does it differ to secondary market research? Well, primary market research is data that is collected for a specific purpose. It's data that, unlike secondary market research data, is not already in existence. But much like secondary market research, you may have already collected some of these data sets previously. Now, it's no coincidence that Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and other social media platforms now have polls. These polls are the perfect example of primary market research, because primary market research embraces things like workshops and focus groups, where a group of individuals may be in one area or a workshop critiquing a product, a service, or potentially a marketing concept. Their feedback will be collected, compiled, and recorded in an easily interpreted way, and it's important to transfer the words coming out of your subject's mouth into meaningful data. You won't record all the information, but the key takeaways from the workshops and the statement, possibly highlighting their pain points or price perceptions. Interviews may be used. Now, this can be one-to-one or indeed, again, groups. But don't forget, these interviews don't have to be a one-way street. You can interview both supplier and consumers. Now, an interview with a supplier could provide information around, say, for example, manufacturing techniques or shine a new light on your design. It may highlight flaws in your product, and subsequently you might choose different materials or indeed manufacturing processes. This all could be based upon the manufacturer's advice. Now, when interviewing potential customers, you can really gauge what customers look for in products and services. How do they usually purchase that service or product? How do they search for a component? And what are their pain points? This information again would be translated into real usable data and compiled, making sure that what you translated is actually meaningful. Surveys are also a great way to gauge big data sets. They're a good way to pool that big data. Now, as discussed above, these used to be expensive, and you need to know where the potential customers frequented to gain an accurate data set of relevant people. However, with the emergence of social media polls, this honestly is as easy as ever, because if you just have a look down your news feed and you can start to realize the power of the polls. They ask a straightforward question to a lot of people, and the answer is already predetermined, meaning that data does not need to be translated again and you don't have 300 different statements that need to be read through, the data is already there, pre-translated, and easily digestible. Now, one of the other things that we use a lot is testing and trialing. Now, testing and trialing of products is also a perfect way to understand the way your product will be perceived, handled, and even broken. Now, testing is the best way of ensuring that you not have only the correct product for the market, but it allows potential customers to hold and feel and really manipulate your products in a way that you may have overlooked. Market research, both primary and secondary, has its benefits and drawbacks. The advantages include that you get to understand if you have a product idea that's worthwhile exploring and something that will actually make you money. Now, after conducting primary research, it's also relevant and recent. It's new. It gives you a far more detailed analysis into customers' minds. Now, of course, there are drawbacks to market research, the main one being it can be expensive. Now, the one drawback that we want to get rid of is bias. Now, we discuss bias a lot, and indeed we talk about bias a lot in our testing topics. The main issue that you need to combat in all aspects of market research is cognitive bias. Are you actually listening, or are you just hearing what you want to hear? It's easy to say, no, I'm developing a plan based upon the data, but really ensure that you are. Remember that when you're planning your market research techniques, also ensure that you are developing your strategies to ensure that you remove bias. If there is no market for your product, don't press ahead regardless. You'll end up burnt, out of pocket, out of money. Remember, it's easy designing a product for your market rather than designing a market for your product. Market research is just one of those key pillars towards a sustainable product idea, service, and potentially company. But use all these skills as a package in isolation. It'll not take you anywhere. There are many ingredients in getting a concept to market, including design, manufacture, marketing, and product quality. In isolation, you can have the perfect single pillar, but without all of them, your structure, your product, your company, your idea will collapse. So it's very important to not just have market research in isolation. It's important to use everything: product development, manufacturing, quality, delivery. It's all about how you get the product to market in the correct position for your customer. If you'd like to talk about, or if you'd like to hear about more topics about quality and those other pillars of our product, then we've got loads more videos on how you, as an importer or a product developer, can get that perfect product from your manufacturers. Thanks very much for listening. If you like the ideas, be sure to subscribe. See you next time.